Hello everybody and welcome to this video. My name is Vince and today we are in the south of France in the house of my mentor Bob. So welcome Bob.
Thank you.
And today we are going to talk about the main qualities a person needs to develop to be successful, and also some of the things that he noticed from mentoring, multiple people, and like what are the main qualities someone developed who became successful and someone who didn't become successful. So what would you say is the first quality that someone needs to achieve that?
Yeah, so if I look at a lot of mentorship students that I've had, there's a couple of things that I always see. And I think one of the main things that is important is you have to know why you do something. You really have to understand why you want to become an entrepreneur, why you want to put in the hours, because, we see all these great stories, right, about becoming an entrepreneur and how it's easy and you'll make a lot of money, your life will be great. But the truth of the matter is that it's not always that, right? Yeah. It is hard work. There's moments that you think, why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this. So if you don't know why you're doing it, you don't really understand, like, okay, I want to have this, I want to invest my time in this because of, this reason I have, then people won't really become successful because you won't pull through. Yeah. And with that, I also always say that if your only motivation is, well, I want to become rich, I mean, sure, making a lot of money is really cool, right? You can have a cool house here in the south of France where you can be and relax. You can do amazing things. So yes, making a lot of money is really, really cool. But if you're just going after that money and say, hey, I want to make $1 million or €1 million, whatever, and then you reach that, then what? Are you happy now? Or are you now thinking, now I want to have 2 million? Yeah. So if I look at people, and if I look at, I'd say, my most successful mentorship students, very often they really understood why they want to do it. So for example, that they want to take care of their family, that their family didn't have much and they want to change their lives. And in order to do that, you need a lot of money. Yeah. They want to have the freedom to travel the world, and in order to do that, you need to have a lot of money. So really understand why, keep reminding yourself why you do this, and that will pull you through the times and days that aren't best, because you will have that. Just like if you have a 9-to-5 job, being an entrepreneur has really shitty days where you're not super happy.
Yeah, and what would you say to someone who wasn't really disciplined before, for example, started working with you? How would you go about building up these habits? Because, we hear all the time all these good habits like waking up early, meditation, all that stuff, but it's really hard to go from 0 to 100 in one day. So what would be your main advice to anyone who wants to build up habits that kind of prepare you for success and also build up that mindset for success?
All right, so when it comes to habits, there's a couple of things important again. First of all, you cannot go, as you say, from 0 to 100 straight away. So you want to slowly build into something that is sustainable for you. And that word sustainable is super important, because if you just go from nothing, staying in bed long, being on your phone for hours in your bed, and then going to super disciplined, get up early, do micro tasks, do everything that you could do, you're not going to be able to do that for a long time, because it's just so much of a change. And after 2 or 3 days, you get demotivated, you don't do it, and you fall back in your old routines. So you slowly want to start doing things, and add one thing every 1, 2, 3 days. And as you notice that you can do this, you get motivated, like, hey, I now see positive change, I've actually gotten up a bit earlier, I've managed to become more productive because I read for 5 minutes, because maybe that's something you want to start with. Yeah. So it has to be sustainable and start going into it. Another thing is, getting up early is something that we hear from successful entrepreneurs. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you have to do it, right? Figure out what works for you, and that is so important. Don't just blindly copy other people. Figure out what works for you and do that. Try whatever it is. Because, and I'm not going to go in that too deep right now, but whether you're a morning person or a night owl is actually depending on the way your brain is wired, and it's not something that you can just do. So if getting up at 6 doesn't work for you, not because you party till 4, that's not a good reason, but simply because it doesn't really work for you, get up later. Find a routine that works for you, that's sustainable for you, that motivates you, and keep improving every single day.
Yeah, I love that. And also I think something that's really important for the people is when I was not in the mentorship with you.
Yeah.
Before that, my biggest problem with the wake ups especially was that I didn't have someone to hold me accountable, and I didn't value I didn't trust myself enough.
Yeah.
So what we started doing with Bob is every single morning he would look at my Oura Ring stats and he would see when I woke up. Well, there are still some troubles with the going to sleep part, but we are working on that. But I think that's something that's very important, that like every single morning that I didn't wake up at 6, which was my routine time, I had to send him $5. And that it's not about the money, it's just about holding yourself kind of accountable. So would you recommend people to also get like a accountability partner?
Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't have to be about money, right? You don't have to send someone money, but it's more the fact that you now have to explain to someone like, hey, I screwed up, I didn't wake up at the time I was supposed to, and you sort of have to explain, and that makes you feel really bad. So you feel like, hey, I'm not just only letting myself down, but also the other person, and there's a consequence to not doing what you want to be doing, because you're not getting up at 6 for me, you're getting up at 6 because you want to achieve certain goals. In order to do that, you want to have routines and structure, and that's also so important when we speak about sleep. Getting up at the same time and going to bed at roughly the same time, there could be like a 1 hour variance, but not more, is so important for your body, for your mind, for your productivity. And that's one of the first things that I always fix with mentorship students, is make sure you have that set, bedtime, which we still have to work on, as you said, and get up time, because your body wants that, and then you can really start building routines, and then everything gets better.
Yeah, I love that advice. And there is one more last thing I think I would like to talk about, and that is a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs and that kind of stuff. They say, oh, I want to make $100 million by 40, or I want to be a billionaire, and all that stuff, but they never really, first of all, never really make a plan on how they are going to actually achieve that, and they never really kind of break down what their dream lifestyle would look like. So could you talk a little bit about kind of identifying your income goals to match your lifestyle goals?
I think you always start with the lifestyle goals. Right. So what kind of life do you want to have? And you can have tiers in that. So you can say, well, the first step that I want to achieve is being, financially independent, or making sure that I can take care of my family, or that I can travel 2 times a year. So, and then the second tier I have is maybe to be, able to buy certain cool things, to get that car, and make those sort of steps, and think to yourself, okay, in order to reach those tiers, how much money do I need to make? And keep in mind that we always have to pay taxes, unfortunately. So don't just think about, actually think this through. And then, so maybe I have to make 5K for my first tier. So what does that mean? How can I make sure that I can make that 5K a month every single month? Because it's cool to make 5K, but it's annoying if you make 10K one month and 1K the other month. We want it to become predictable. So what do I have to do? What income producing activities do I need to be doing every single day in order to be able to make that money at, and again, to make sure that it's sustainable. So the way that I think you should structure it is have tiers, see what you have to make in order to reach those tiers. And it's great to have a top tier where you can fly private jets, buy private jets. Is it realistic for most people? Probably not, but it's cool to have that sort of vision, that dream. But I think the last thing that is important is your goals. If we set goals, and of course these are also talking about goal setting, is if they are too far out of our reach, if all of our goals are too far out of our reach, you notice that you're not going to reach it, and that's going to demotivate you. If your goals are too easy, making $5 a day, then it's going to be super easy to reach, and it won't push you. So your goals always have to be challenging, but they also have to be possible. And that's why the tier system is good, because every tier, the next tier should be possible. It's a challenge to make the first 5K if you're starting. Trust me, it's a challenge to make 5K a month. But it's possible, right? And once you hit that, maybe the next tier is 10K a month. Well, again, you're going to push yourself, and that's the way I think you should set it up.
I think these were some very valuable lessons to anybody who is just starting out or is a beginner. So Bob, could you tell a little bit about your mentorship program, and kind of also where people can find you?
Of course. Well, of course, you should definitely start following me on Instagram. I do daily tips there every day for everyone, just in my stories and in posts. And through there, you will also find my website where you can find, how you can apply for my mentorship if you want to, and everything else that you want. So my mentorship program normally is real quick. It's always custom made, right? We just looked at how much guidance do you want to have. Some people want to be able to speak with me every day. Some people just once a month. We just see what works, because at the end of the day, it's what works for you, and then that's the only way to get results.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Bob, for
You're welcome.
Coming on the show. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe, give it a like, all that stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one.